couple of you I've had the chance to visit with, and I've asked questions like, well, what are you hoping to accomplish today? What do you want to leave with? And I've had a variety of answers. Some people have come up to me and said, Mason, I want to attract more of my ideal customers. Others have said things like, I want to be established as the expert in my field. I want to get paid more for what I do. I want to get paid for what I know, not just what I do. I want to be the supplier of choice when someone goes online. And the good news for all of you who I've spoken with is that those aren't mutually exclusive choices. So I want to lay out a variety of thoughts, strategies, and tools and let you pick and choose which ones you think are most applicable to you. There's nothing in my education or experience that gives me the right or the desire to come and tell any of you how to run your businesses. But I'm more than happy to share best practices and things that I've seen work on the front lines in the hopes that they can work on your front lines too. I guess I'd really like to start with a little story that takes me back to Miss Reese's 8th grade English class when we got that horrible assignment to do a book report. And as soon as she said, your job is to do a book report, you guys know how it is. What did the classroom do? Everyone's like, oh man, book report. Oh. So then the obvious questions came. What questions would I be talking about? You know the ones. Miss Reese, what's the minimum number of pages it has to be? 100. Does that include pictures? No. Like, everyone's sitting there thinking, what's the minimum that we can do to be done with this book report thing? And as soon as class was over, the race was on to the library to find the biggest print, the ones without pictures, and the shortest thing so we could be done with our book report stuff. Well, that's how most people thought. I started thinking a little differently. I said, I got a better plan. And this would have been about the time that the movie 1941 came out with John Belushi. I'm like, I saw my parents, they got this book 1941. That's going to be my book report because I saw the movie. So what did I do? I chose to just watch the movie and write a report on it because I could handle any questions she was going to throw out in the oral interview, which she did. So here's the interesting thing is when we talk about the idea of your brand as a media outlet, I want to just kind of plant some seeds and kind of see where that leads us. But one of the ways that we as a culture have traditionally communicated has been through text and books. And I love books, I read a lot. But I look at my kid and I look at my friends and how many of them associate reading a book with schoolwork. It's like, I got to read a book. Or, I got to read reports. Or, we associate because we had to do it in school. Like, how many pages do we have to read for this assignment? Not how many pages do we get to read, but how many pages do we have to read for our assignment? But how do most of us as businesses communicate with our ideal prospects? I.e. text, in a way that means to them something they associate with more work that they have to do. Well, you can do that if you choose to, but I'm going to suggest an alternative. What's that alternative? TV and movies. People love those. That's entertainment. That's exciting. How many kids? What do we tell them? What are the questions when our kids come to us? They always say, how much do I have to read? But we're sitting there saying, we don't want you to watch any more television. And they're sitting there negotiating with us. Hey, can I watch just a little bit more TV, Mom? Or can I see one more movie, Dad? You guys know how it goes. So what if we could take that desire and put that in your customers or your prospects and communicate with them in a way that they actually want to be communicated with, that they like to be communicated with, and they can actually respond to. So this whole idea of your brand as a media outlet. Some of you know that I had the opportunity a few years back. I was sitting in Springfield, Missouri, outside of a cafe with one of my buddies from high school. And right after, I don't know how many of you watch CBS's show Survivor, but this guy sitting next to me has been on 3 episodes. And the last time he was on, he actually made it to the finale, and he lost $1 million by just a few votes. Anyway, after his first session, we're sitting out there, and I see this guy walking down the sidewalk, and I tap my buddy Mark on the shoulder. I go, Mark, that's Coach from Survivor. He's like, son of a gun, man, it is. So we're like, hey, Coach. And he caught our attention. He kind of gave us one of those little nods and said, hey, we're buying rounds if you'll tell Survivor stories. He's with one of his buddies, like, all right, it's kind of early, maybe 8 o'clock at night, so it's not like there's that much happening in Springfield, Missouri at 8 o'clock on a Friday night yet. So he's like, all right. He hung out with us for about an hour, and we talked about the show and how it was edited and the different characters and the people. And he hung out with us for about an hour. And here was the interesting thing, is I felt like I knew this guy. He seemed like one of my best friends. And he genuinely was a super nice guy. But the reality was he was an absolute total stranger. He could have been a psycho. He wasn't, but he could have been. But I felt so comfortable reaching out to him and say, hey, we'll buy drinks. Come join us at our table. That's the power of TV. That's the power of movies. How many actors or actresses would you love to invite to your birthday party? Or come hang out? Or pro athletes? How many politicians would, if you saw them hitching a ride with a thumb, you'd aim for a puddle? You don't know these people. You think you do, but you don't. You feel like it because you've seen them on TV and you've heard them and you've seen how they react. Well, how do we transfer that kind of power to you? Well, let's think about how this all began. I remember as a kid, I grew up in the St. Louis area, I'm a local guy, and I remember when we had, on television, we had Channel 2, Channel 4, Channel 5, Channel 9, Channel 11, and if you worked with the rabbit ears, you might be able to get Channel 30. And then I remember when we got cable TV, it was like, whoa, 30 channels, this is awesome. 30 channels, this rules. And 24-hour sports, oh, great. 24-hour news channel. Not that I was excited about seeing news, but my parents always clogged the TV between 5 and 6, and now that was no longer a problem because they could watch it whenever they wanted. So I was thinking 30 channels. Oh, MTV music videos, this rules. This is awesome. It can't get better than that. Well, then what comes along after that? Satellite. Now we got hundreds of channels. And it's not just a 24-hour sports channel. Take your pick, man. It's the NBA channel, the NHL channel, the Major League Baseball channel, the golf channel. And it's not just MTV. Well, they actually just don't even play videos anymore. But now you got country music TV stations. You got all these very defined niches. Hundreds of channels, right? But how many times have we sat around TV going, there's nothing on? Hundreds of channels, we're sitting there complaining because there's nothing on TV. What's better? What could possibly be better than hundreds of channels? Answer, how about millions? Well, that exists. It's called YouTube. YouTube isn't the only provider of videos. But anyone can create a channel and anyone can buy advertising. And not only that, but actually, I'll get to that in a second. But it was created in 2007. They have more than 1 million creators from over 30 countries around the world. If I, as a consumer of content, like I wanted to go do an ultramarathon, I can go on YouTube and type in about that ultramarathon, and people have taken GoPro cameras on the race. I feel like I know what the course is like ahead of time. I know what the scenery's like. It's like you made that journey with them. Regular television can't do that. It doesn't do that. It doesn't give you that level of specificity. There are thousands of channels making 6 figures a year where businesses are paying to advertise to that audience. More than 1 billion unique users visit YouTube each month. 100 hours of video are uploaded to YouTube every minute. And according to Nielsen, YouTube reaches more U.S. adults ages 18 to 34 than any cable network. Millions of subscriptions happen each day, and the number of people subscribing daily is up more than 3 times since last year. This is where this gets dangerous. Mobile makes up almost 40% of YouTube's global watch time. On your mobile phones, on your tablets, start talking computers. And here's the best part. Some of you might be going, well, Mason, that's great. Listen, YouTube, I get that. But, I still like my TV. That's TV and video. You're talking about different things. Not anymore. Why? Because there's this little thing called Smart TV where people can actually clip, or a Google Chromecast, they clip a little thing about the size of a thumb drive in their television, and people can watch YouTube channels on their televisions. So now, YouTube is not only on televisions, but it is on tablets, it is on cell phones, it is on computers. It is everywhere. So what does this mean for you? What kind of opportunities exist? When I made the comment, I said thousands of people are earning 6-figure incomes because they are creating channels that businesses want to advertise on so they can reach their audience, right? Well, as seen on TV, it's a credibility thing. You want to establish credibility and attract your ideal customers and position yourself accordingly, then get famous. And how do you do that? You get seen on TV. And here's the interesting thing. Video equals TV.